People like me, tall, skinny, goofy people, character actors. I fall into the character actor category. People don't usually write leading parts for us. We might be the goofy sidekick or the scary guy. I knew when I started in Hollywood that I had to be either scary or funny, and I have had a wonderful career based on scary and funny. So I never really thought that I would ever have the chance to headline a movie as the guy who has all the emotional ranges and can go from zero to hero within the story. And sure enough, here's that chance. Here's that movie. And Morgan Mead, our director and the creator of this project, with his writing partner Andy Janik in the early days, they're the ones who came up with the story originally. They wrote it specifically for me because a part like this has never come along for me before. And they knew me as the guy under rubber that had done lots of creature work and that kind of thing. And they wanted to create an opportunity, a vehicle for me to showcase the rest of me. They created an opportunity for me that I didn't think was possible. I didn't think that my career would ever involve a movie like My Name is Jerry. And here we are, finished up with it now, and I'm feeling very, very emotional about it. It was a month before Hellboy was about to open in theaters, and my agent got an email and a phone call, another email from this kid named Morgan Mead, who was a film student at the New York Film Academy in LA. And Morgan wanted me for a role in his short film. Met with him, and after 3 hours of being fascinated by this kid and his crazy mind and all the screws that are loose in his brain, I said to him, I want to be in your short film and every other film you ever make from this day forward. So he's one of those few directors that I connect with, I understand, he gets me, and he's a true storyteller. Seeing a couple of his short films and then being in one of his short films when he was a 22-year-old kid, it's one like I keep an eye on this one because he's going somewhere. And I also wanted to keep an eye on him because I felt like I was Uncle Dougie to him after we were done, and I wanted to make sure that he was taken care of and would make his way in life. That became very important to me. So he goes home to the Midwest and creates this project for me to star in, and I was very complimented by that. But of course, you never know. Is it going to fly? Isn't it going to fly? Is anyone ever going to make it? Are we going to ever get it produced? Who knows? There's so many projects out there flying around Hollywood. They're like, this one's going to be big, and then it never gets made. This happens all the time. So for us to be sitting on this end of it, having finished filming, it's like, we actually did it. We actually made it. Morgan took a big chance on me. He took 3 years of his life to push this movie forward. He believed in me in a way that no one ever has. After I was done filming, the last scene that I shot was driving the Maverick out of the barn and down the road. It's his car. It's his personal car, by the way. I met the Maverick when I met Morgan, 4 years ago. And so for him to have that car in the movie now was kind of like a poetic thing too. When I met him the first day, back in 2004, he was wearing a baseball cap. Had that, I'm a young director kind of look about him at Priscilla's coffee shop in Burbank. And he doesn't wear baseball caps very much. So now, jump to 4 years later, it's 2008, and I've just finished filming my last scene in My Name is Jerry. I drive the Maverick back to the crew, and Morgan says, we're going back to home base, so move over, I'm going to drive you. So I scooch over into the passenger seat. Morgan gets into the driver's seat, and we go barreling down a 2-lane road in the middle of farm country in Indiana. And that was the most perfect drive. The sun was setting off to the one side, and I'm looking over at him, and he's wearing a baseball cap. And it's got the My Name is Jerry logo on the top of it. And it's like, wow, that's the movie we just finished. How exciting is this? The movie that we've been trying to make for 3 years, and here I go. Yeah. I don't know how much of this you can use. Oh, golly. But, very exciting. Very exciting indeed. Yeah. But it goes, all this emotion I'm feeling goes far beyond, like, I'm an actor and I got a chance to get my face on film. Oh, gosh, it's so much more than that. I mean, this is about a friendship that means the world to me. and about people trusting each other, and about opportunities and chances and all that. And I'm playing this character that's like my own face and a wide emotional range, and I have to cry on on film, which I've never done before. I've never cried on film before this job, and never been called upon to do that. And here's a character that does and needs to, and everything from that to doing physical gags that might have been a little bit over the top, but I had to trust that Morgan knew what he was doing when he filmed them. I had to trust that that all the relationships and dialogue and the direction we were taking each scene, I had to trust that he knew what he was doing, and I did. I'd trust his storytelling. Every day was me standing in front of Morgan with my back to him and him saying, "Fall, I'm right here, I will catch you." And he did. And there aren't many people in this world, personally or professionally, that you can trust to do that. It started with such a great script and a great story and great characters, and that script, the final version of the script that we were using that went around to attract the cinematographer Nathan Wilson and our producers Zach Believa and Bruce Economou and all the actors, Catherine Hicks and Don Stark and Allison Scalioni and all of our great new kids from Chicago, including my little co-star Caitlin Carlson. I just that it was that powerful of a story that like it attracted all departments. When you're pulling that many professionals together that are willing to take a serious cut in pay or even invest their own money to make this movie happen, you realize you're working on something special. Being at the wrap party, and looking around the room at all these faces that I've gotten to know so well, all these young, eager, hopeful faces that are passionate about their own futures and about movies and about art and about storytelling. It was just very fulfilling to see that we have finished a project. It's in the can, that have made every one of those faces satisfied, in some way. I think my favorite day probably was the day that I talked about with Caitlin Carlson. Our first day filming together, which was the last scene that we are together in the film at the barn. The farm out there, I'm from Indiana originally, and living in LA for 20-some years, coming back here and being among cornfields one direction, soybean fields the other direction, a sun setting in the sky just so, a 1970-something Maverick sitting over here in a barn, and a beautiful young woman who's telling me, here's what you've been through, and finding that space and trusting each other on film, and me being able to hug my director after the end of the day and say, "Morgan, I've never cried on film until today." And we shared that moment together, and it was perfect. It was just perfect. Yeah.
Eddie Blue cleans the snow off his car roof. He's not going too far, but you can never be too safe these days. The roads are out, but we're still at 25. He's gotta take deck inside a place. All the songs that